So that's an overview of the budget. And there's now another initiative that's come out of the Chancellor's office. It's, I haven't seen it discussed much on campus, but probably by word of mouth, most of you heard of it. The system has decided to set as a goal that all campuses increase their graduation rate for first-time freshmen. The 6-year graduation rates are to be increased by a minimum of 6 percentage points for those campuses that are already in the top quartile of graduation rates relative to their peer group in IPEDS. And for our campus, since we're not in the top quartile, we will have to raise them about 9% to be in the top quartile by 2015 in 6 years. Coupled with that is going to be some effort that we will have to put in, which makes sense, but not immediately. But we have to address graduation rates for transfer students as well and increase them. And finally, the goal is to reduce the achievement gap between represented and non-represented students by half by 2015. This may sound to you a lot like the trustees' mandate to reduce remediation to 10% by 2000, was it 2004, Merrill? Was that the year? Okay. And you can see that we didn't even come close to that. My take on this is that the Chancellor is not going to forget this one, and that provosts and presidents are going to be held accountable to report on a monthly basis what goals we're setting up to achieve this improvement in graduation rates, and what we're measuring to assess that, and how we're making progress toward the goal. So that's coming along. I put a committee together to start to think about a plan that we could put together, because it will go out to deans and to faculty and the like, so it'll get vetted. But an initial plan has to be submitted to the Chancellor's office by December 25th. With that being said, I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Senator Mansell. And please use the mics.
So it seems that there's an inherent conflict between increasing the 6-year graduation rate rather than the units to degree and the monetary limits, because my assumption is that the 14-unit maximum on enrollment is going to be here to stay as long as we're heavily impacted in terms of class sections. So if you want to answer that one.
I'm not sure that that's the case. We're doing it kind of on a yearly case-by-case basis. One of the main problems we had is that we had to reduce our enrollment by FTE by, what is it, about 4,500, 5,000?
FTE was not that much reduced, no, it was more like 25,000.
From last year to this year?
From, yes, from last year to
Okay.
this year.
Well, so the money decreased, the enrollment targets decreased, but proportionally the number of students on campus did not decrease. And so we set this limit partly to allow as many students as possible to have a chance to take some units. If we could downsize so that the student population reflected our enrollment target, like 20,000 to 27 FTE, then I don't know that we'd need that kind of limitation on enrollment. If I'm off base about that, I'm sure my colleague will.
Yeah, no, I concur.
Well, see, it just occurs to me that if you've got all students taking 12 units rather than 15, and that's still full time, and so that's, I mean, it's kind of the wrong model, but financially that makes a whole lot more sense. So for the student, it's kind of off.
Well, we're really trying to downsize across the board. As I said, we have more students than we can handle because the decreases happened the way they did, and we didn't all of a sudden graduate several thousand students, although we're trying hard at doing that. I really don't think that once we have downsized to some steady state level, that there will be that kind of a problem.
And the other question I had was, in terms of high-cost programs, given that given state mandates, are we talking about reducing the number of students in those very high-cost programs that aren't otherwise supported by external pressures?
It's not clear to me that we want to reduce the number of students in the high-cost program so much as eliminating the high-cost program altogether. I've done absolutely nothing this year and not discussed with the deans the elimination of any programs. It's not on the board. I think in the spring, some consideration has to be given to that in terms of next year. As I said, this year, we're going to make it out fine this year. Next year is more of a problem. And that, we have to put a lot of things on the table to see how we can survive and keep operating.